Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Vikas Jain live show. In this episode of Vikas Jain live show, our guest speaker Deependra Singh is going to cover insights about digital transformation with Gen AI and data science. Welcome, Deependra, to Vikas Jain live show.
Thanks, Vikas. Thanks for inviting me, and
Great.
very eager to hear have this round of discussion and hear good and sound questions from my viewers as well.
That's great, and that shows your depth of experience. So, just for the interest of our audience, let me share a quick background of Mr. Deependra Singh. With over 15 years of experience in leading and setting up analytics practices, Deependra is having a proven track record of success in driving business outcomes through data-driven insights. He has led large teams in product analytics, market analytics, data science, and data engineering, and have deep understanding of personalization, customer acquisition, and retention strategies through the usage of product analytics, market analytics, and data science modeling approaches. He has a strong experience in building deep learning and AI products. He is passionate changemaker with notable achievement in setting up the analytic practice from scratch for Junglee team, American Express Digital Business, and National Insurance Company. He won multiple international consulting events, pioneered analytics engine for GOI PMJAY policy, even failed as an entrepreneur, an influential leader and a notable speaker for multiple educational institutes and corporate. He has done session with IMT Hyderabad, Goa Institute of Management, BITS Mestra, and IMS Geo Institute, Rise, and Shiv Nadar School, and list is ongoing. So, in the interest of time, I'm just probably closing the introduction. But Dipendra has done so many things. So, Dipendra, I'm just curious that the kind of experience and the decade plus experience that you have, usually data science seems to us like more of a recent concept. So, how you got into this career and what was the situation at that time? There must be some interesting story behind that.
Yeah, I started as a radio jockey. I was I was not destined to be a data scientist or into this field. That's what I thought. I never thought about this. So I was a radio jockey uh, while attending school. So I used to do shows on weekends for Gyanvani, and at that point of time, FM wasn't there, but Gyanvani used to come. So for Gyanvani, I
Okay.
used to do shows. And after that, when FM Rainbow came, I was lucky enough they selected me for Sunday afternoon show. So I used to do that, and but a lot of my friends wanted to do engineering. So I'm just taking you through my career journey. So
Sure.
after 12,
Yes.
a lot of my friends wanted to do engineering, and I joined FM Rainbow as an employee. But uh, I didn't had graduation at that point of time, and government of India ruling was there. You cannot give a permanent position or job to anybody who is non-graduate. So they asked me to complete graduation, and thinking about graduation, I looked at all of my friends and they said we are going to do engineering. So I said, if you are also thinking about engineering, I will also do engineering. And that's when I prepared and got through HBTI Kanpur. I had 4 years stint there. After that, also I joined in Mumbai. I joined Accenture Consulting. And there is a strange story. I actually joined Accenture Consulting, but didn't get a project to work on. So they were setting up analytics in those days in 2008, and they pushed me into that team. They said you should go and join analytics because we don't have projects for you right now. It was a year 2008 where Lehman Brothers fell and there was crisis in the market.
Yes.
So by default, any consulting company would have a lot of projects at that point of time. So they sent me into an analytics team. They said, we'll teach you analytics. So in those days, it was SPSS, IBM's SPSS. They asked us to get our hands dirty on IBM SPSS, read some statistics books, and they taught also. They trained us on statistics, and it is then our journey into data science field started.
Though
So it
that's
was
quite an
first step.
interesting
It was very
journey
accidental.
from radio jockey to data science. I could not have imagined that. I thought it could have been just engineering and then to data science. But from
And there is
radio
still more to it.
jockey.
There is
Oh,
still more
is
to
it?
it.
That's interesting.
After joining, after joining, post that I joined a government PSU. I was not liking the work there, so I resigned. In lieu of me taking back my resignation, they gave me a strategy project which was about to set up a data science team in the company. So in 2011, the PSU wanted to transform and set up a data science company, a data science team. So I was given this chance and I took it by both hands. So that led to me setting this up, and then I went to Bangalore, where my goal was to get into sales, and that's why I went ahead to do my MBA. But post my MBA, I got multiple offers only from analytics companies in data science. So I tried leaving this field twice, but both at both the times it actually came back and remarried.
Destiny.
So I tried to divorce it, but instead of divorcing, I got to remarry it again. That has been the journey.
Okay, that's quite an interesting journey. I think one of the rare journey that I have heard in many interviews that I've done, from a radio jockey to just wanted to do a graduation to landing up in engineering, that to a prominent college in that is HBTI Kanpur, and then going to industry, not choosing to get into data science, but somehow landing up in again in data science. That's quite an interesting thing. Now, but in today's context, and you have vast experience of various industries, so how data science and gen AI is changing the media industry? Can you share some use cases?
Yeah, of course. So I'll talk about my first use case, or I'll talk about lot of use cases. But
Sure.
content generation is the most prominent use case for which you know LLMs. But within media sector, if you are able to give right prompts via content generation, it can create an article for you. I mean, content generation all the LLMs do, but you can train an LLM to give you something which is in line with reporting or in line with the media type of an article, with little bit of training, and even
Okay.
not even training, even with right kind of prompts it can give you that. And then comes content recommendation, wherein you have news and it will pick up similar news, it will generate tags for that news, and basis these tags it will pick up similar news articles, or if you want to do some experiments, AB experiments, it can pick up similar as well as some drastically very much opposite news articles as well. That it can do,
Okay.
and that is the kind of experiment which we are doing. Then comes headline generation. Of course, you've seen headlines, but headlines have to be SEO driven. 80% of
Yeah.
a media company's traffic is organic through Google search. So headline has to be right because that is picked up in the SEO. Even the content is picked up, but headline comes first. So headline generation using a large language model. That's one more use case. Fake news identification, wherein LLMs are just okay, not doing great, but they are okay. There is some start to it. Otherwise, there was none. Image identification, image description. So whatever is there in the image, today LLMs, with the help of LLMs, you can do it much easily, much more easily than you have to create a program to do it and train it on massive data. Today you have such kind of LLMs which is already trained, so it makes life very easy. Most important, AI news anchor. You've started seeing Ashtak did, News 18 did, AI news anchors. So AI news anchor is one. Then comes video identification, logo identification, people in video to be identified. That at least a prominent personality can be identified using large language model. or Gen AI.
Okay.
Shorts generation. So long videos have to be converted into shorts for YouTube, for Facebook, for Instagram, and whatnot. So that is the requirement, and there a lot of time goes for a person to cut a video into 30-second, 15-second, 1 minute shorts, which large language model can easily do. Not very effective. You have to have human in the loop, but it has increased the efficacy. Of course, last but not the least, video tagging and transcribing, which has become much easier. Now
Yep.
everybody can do it. You don't have to rely on Google's algorithms, Google's models only. These are some of the use cases which we have in media, and this is just on top of my mind. I have there are
No,
many
that
more.
itself is a long list. Yeah, that itself
Yeah.
is a long list, starting from content article writing to headline generation, fake news identification, image LLM, AI news anchor, video identification, and short generation. But among these, probably, how is the industry's receptivity towards AI news anchor? Because it seems like that now, as a on a pilot project, probably some channels have started doing it. But how is the acceptance of it among the news anchor themselves?
So we have to wait for this AI to be better than what it is today. It has to be advanced general intelligence. From artificial intelligence to advanced general intelligence, when it reaches, you will see these anchors having some emotions. Right now they are very much monotonous. You will see that
Yes.
they're just talking like this, no emotions, no head wavering, and uh, like a human speaks. It is
Yes.
tones go up and down. We can modify the tones going up and down, but uh, to read a news like a human with those emotions, with those feelings and expressions on faces, right now it is not possible. It is. So what, I'll give you a funny incident. What we tried was, at the back end, we tried with one of these AI news anchors to
Okay.
put some emotions into them. So there are libraries through which we can do it, but it gets things wrong. And it was reading a funeral news, and it started laughing.
Oh.
It was reading a funeral news with a smile. I mean, it in an internal test we saw, and that moment we decided that it has to develop little bit more than what it is today to completely take over. You can have pilot projects, but users will not be glued to it like they are glued to human anchors. They want to listen to, say,
Okay.
Palki, or they want to listen to some of the prominent news anchors from Aaj Tak or News 18 India as well. But it won't be that much for a AI avatar because of they being very much monotonous. If I just start speaking a monologue to you, how much interested and till how much time will you be interested in listening to me?
Makes sense.
It
Makes
may
sense.
not be.
As you mentioned that, yeah, yeah. So we have to transition from the AI to AGI, and but this is just the beginning. We can say this is
Yes.
just the beginning. Definitely, in near future, we should be, or we would be able to add more of expression to it. At least we have gone to a point where at least they have started talking, and it seems like there are, I think, many Instagram channels where it actually becomes quite difficult that whether it's an actual thing or a fake thing or a artificial intelligence generated image.
So right, for short, very short videos like 15 second,
Yeah.
20, 30 seconds,
Yeah.
they are they can be more human like, because you would read 30, you would speak for 15 seconds or 30 seconds. You might not need to wave your head, or
Yes.
might not need to have that much of expression. So for a specific task, if I program and feed the expression for 15, 30 seconds, it is useful. For unseen text, for seen text, you can create, you can program it more like a human. But for a longer text and for unseen text, it gets very difficult.
Okay.
So you are
We have
talking
a
about, what you are talking about is a specific case, which
yes.
is a scene text which they would have trained it on, that it has to wave like this or it has to have expressions like this. You can program it.
Okay.
There is a question, I
Uh,
guess.
yeah, we have a question coming from Amit, that what are the common challenges faced by Gen AI and data science and how to overcome them? So, like you have explained multiple use cases in media, but what are the
Common
common challenges?
challenges, common challenges right now is that Gen AI is very costly. I'll give
Okay.
you an example from media, but this applies to a lot of sectors. In call centers and within lot of media companies, they were trying to replace video editors with a Gen AI based editor. And when I say editor, it's a video editor, not the news editor. Video editors they were trying to replace, but what happened was the cost of running a Gen AI model, the cost overran than having a human in that place. So
Okay.
the salaries are very much nominal. I'll not talk about salaries here, but salaries are very much nominal for these people. And if you replace them with Gen AI, the cost overshoots. There are cost overruns. So you have to identify specific cases where Gen AI is cost optimized for any company. If it can be cost optimized by volume or by specific type of work, where you need a very specialized talent and it talent is very rare and costly, you can replace with Gen AI if possible. Or you have volumes of certain tasks, which if automated, at least you can do away with 40% of your workforce, 30-40% of your workforce, and there is a substantial saving. This 40% reduction in workforce, the cost saved should not be greater than cost incurred. If cost incurred is greater than cost saved, there is no point. Simple mathematics.
Yes.
So, lot of these use cases today, specifically if I talk about media or banking, you need human in the loop, even if Gen AI is working, giving you some results. So, you are able to increase the efficiency of a human by Gen AI. So, that's what I commonly say. Gen AI is more like a horse. You can choose to compete it or you can choose to ride it. So it is useful if you're writing it. And the common challenge I already talked about, but with Gen AI, you need to have human. It has not been able to replace humans completely in most of the jobs. It is
Okay.
able to increase human efficiency.
Okay. So first and foremost challenge is the cost factor, that currently when we are actually make it production ready, then cost of AI is quite on the higher side. So unless we make it at par with, so that it justify replacing the existing person and use that thing, till the time we may not be able to use it. But definitely there are certain use cases which are right now at the lower end, and they have started the replacement process, as I understand, right?
Second one is the adoption challenge.
Okay.
With
My
human in the
next
loop,
question.
the
Yeah.
fear for job is there.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
There is a lot of fear for job loss, and hence it becomes difficult for Gen AI's adoption within any organization.
Okay. That makes total sense. My next question would be regarding, from an Indian perspective, said how India can leverage this potential and this opportunity of this growing market. So would you like to talk about the availability of talent and how to get international projects, so that we can make this particular industry vertical of data science and Gen AI big?
So first of all, how I should answer first this, that how useful Gen AI can be for a country like India, and then
Yeah.
maybe go to your question.
Sure.
So at first, Gen AI, when it comes to when you are say for example Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Arogya Yojana PMJ, it
Yeah.
is for 40 crore. It is the objective is to reach 40 crore masses, 40 crore people, to serve 40 crore people. But when claims will arise, if you have human in the loop to handle those claims, the cost overshoots, because the main objective is to make insurance viable for a lower middle class or lower income groups.
Yes.
If we have to do that, your premium has to be very low, and to have this successful, you need something like Gen AI, which can act as a claim processor and which can replace multiple humans within this. And this is just one use case. There are use cases in agriculture. There are use cases where not in traffic. So India is moving on an infrastructure journey where a lot of Gen AI use cases and managing the traffic will come by. Right now, traffic
Okay.
lights are like fixed 2 minutes, but it doesn't looks at how the traffic is growing over a period of time. Like in the evening from office towards home, traffic increases, your light should be shorter. But that is what Gen AI can intelligently do by looking at the incoming traffic. YOLO 11 has come up with a YOLO is a program. So YOLO 11 has the capability to identify how many vehicles are there on other side of the road. So there are some of the use cases India can potentially has the potential to have to have in India, because it can serve masses. It can reduce the cost.
Yep.
And now how India, how we can have talent coming in to do this. And then second is so we first have to become a consumer of it to have talent coming to us. Why talent flocks to America? Why?
Yeah.
Because they are the consumers, they are the world's biggest consumers, and hence your talent prospers near where the market is. So if India becomes this hub where it can start consuming these services, so your talent will come to India. Why not? And I see next potentially next 10 years are for India. We already are service IT services economy, which is massively impacting our GDP, to turn into maybe not creating Gen AI from scratch, but using the existing Gen AI. And I was seeing a survey as well where it talked that in the adoption rate of Gen AI is maximum in India. One of the surveys I was reading. So once we become the market, we'll be able to attract talent. And once we
Okay.
are able to attract talent, then sky is the limit. What is there in America will the similar in a similar fashion will happen in India, and we are growing towards uh, that direction to become a consumer market. That's what Make in India campaigns and all these. So Make in India is one way, but these type of campaigns where if internal consumption increases, manufacturing is happening here internal, and Modi and the Prime Minister is pushing towards having better internal consumption by means of infrastructure built up and all that. So the push is also there to have better internal consumption. And once that happens, and once these kind of use cases we start developing in India, you will have talent flocking to India, because India
Sure.
itself will become the market.
Yes, India to become a consumer and to develop the market so that which can attract the talent, and that will indirectly prosper the India the way we want it. And you already mentioned that as per different surveys, already India is a great consumer for Gen AI kind of services. And how we can my additional follow up question would be that how to acquire more international projects, so that earlier we grown in the form of IT services, but if we particularly talk about getting the data sciences kind of projects, so are we doing enough, or what differently can be added there? Is there any network issue? I think I have lost you for a second, Dipendra. If you are there, can you hear me, Dipendra? Audience, let me just check with the Deependra. That seems like a network issue. And in the meantime, while Deependra is back in the chat, let me know. Oh, I think the screen
Right.
has started moving. Yeah, it got frozen, I think, for a second.
Oh, maybe due to some internet glitch.
Yes, for sure. So I was asking that how we can acquire more of international project. You must have worked on some international projects as well, and how is the confidence and how we can acquire more such international projects?
So you would have heard about India investing in GPUs at first place, and these GPUs
Okay.
will be shared by startups. So India is investing 10,000 crores into acquiring GPUs,
Okay.
and this is there is a government of India scheme under which these GPUs, especially H100 and kind of GPUs where you can train GenAI models, will be made available to educational institutions and startups which are working in direction. They have to apply with a form, and the cost will be borne by government of India.
Oh,
So
that's interesting.
they in a way are creating that hub which will attract talent. So what is required, if you get the infrastructure in India like you have in US, rest all can be much easier said than done. It becomes much easier then.
Okay.
I would say it becomes much. People will come in and people will start experimenting with those GPUs. So it becomes
Sure.
easier.
Sure.
I would say
I hope.
said and done. I spoke wrongly. Sorry.
Yes. That
So
that answers the question, right? So these are the things that can be done to make sure that more of the international projects come in because the infrastructure is getting built. Am I right?
yeah, once infrastructure is there, you will pick up international projects very easily because you can optimize the cost around it. The cost will you can you can bid at an international level
Okay.
with kind
That
of
makes sense.
support which government of India is providing.
Sure. And though we have many questions in pipeline, but in the interest of time, my last question will be for the people who want to get into Gen AI and data science. Is there any recommended book or any recommended resources? Though we have many on YouTube, but nowadays it's a problem of many. People don't know the quality resources that they should go for. So, any preferred book that you have or any recommended resource that you like to suggest?
So I'm writing my blogs on Medium where
Okay.
I am specifically writing along with the code how to train your Gen AI model or how to create an AI avatar. These are some of the use cases I've covered along with the codes. So you have codes there, repository there. You can use it, read it, and then there's one guy called Andres Kapathy, I guess. He was one of the members of OpenAI when they created GPT, Chat GPT 2
Okay.
and 3. So he was part of that team. He has his course on YouTube, which I think is very useful.
Okay. So I
There
just
are
search
few
for
videos on that.
your. Okay. Just search for your Medium blog. I think this is the URL of your Medium blog,
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
medium.com/Deependra IMB. So people who are watching the show can definitely refer to this article. And once you start reading this article, I'm sure indirectly it will lead to many other quality references which can help people building in the further references. Okay, thanks Deependra, that answers my question. So before we close the today's podcast, any last message to the audience whom are watching and how they can grow, and probably now do you still want to go back to radio jockey because now you have an option, or want to start a podcast or something like that?
Would love to do that as a part time, but now I've lost that touch. The touch of a radio jockey
Okay.
it takes time to come by, and you need to read a lot. You need to read a lot of even if I want to do it, you need to have hands-on knowledge of some of the gossips which is going on because that's what people want to listen from a radio jockey and some information, some gossip. It's a mix of all. So would love to do that, but can't go back there. And now about people moving to data science and Gen AI, now there are a lot of materials, and there are companies which are providing free GPUs as well. Like Google Colab also gives you an option to run on basic GPUs, so you can try test a lot of things. So Kaggle provides you that. There is Google Colab which provides you free GPUs. You can test and try, learn, test, try on your own. So the codes which I've shared, even one T4 GPU would be more than enough for you to run it and actually experiment with it. So for learning purpose, there are a lot of things available now in the market, and you don't have to spend a penny to acquire that information or knowledge. The only thing you need to spend is sit down with an open mind to learn. Spend time. So that's, time is the currency which you need to have, and rest
Time is the
all can follow.
currency. Time is the currency, and as you mentioned, I just wrote it that learn, test, and try. Probably that entity. While we are talking about LLM model, but to make that LLM work, you have to try that LTT model, which is learn, test, and try by
Of
Deependra.
course.
Once you start working on that model, everything else will fall into place. Thanks,
And I'll
Deependra,
be
for
honest, I created a
taking.
translator.
Yeah.
My first translator which I created was on free Google Colab. It was on free Google Colab on which I created my first translator, and from there on, of course, uh, when you're working with a company, you will have access to all these, and then things were easier. But
True.
when I tested
True.
and tried my first, for audiences I'm talking about, those who are listening to me, I did it using a free source. And some of these Kaggle events, they provide you proper GPUs of A100 as well. One of few events were there where participants were provided A100. You can just participate in that event, get access to A100, and try that problem. I can assure you, you'll have massive learning and infrastructure at your by
Okay.
your side. It becomes much easier to learn because LTT, as you said.
LTT, as you said, I just made an acronym out of it, but this is what you suggested. And also, I
Yeah,
think whenever we are having a conversation around IT, I see that there are only three things required. I'm somehow in love with the IT as a career because I always say there are only three things required: one, laptop, another is broadband, and third is your mind. If you have these three in place, you can do anything and everything. You don't need any fourth thing.
absolutely,
So
absolutely.
great. So thanks, Dipendra. Thanks for taking out time from your busy schedule to share these insights with our podcast viewers. Thanks again for taking out time. Okay.
Thanks, Vikas. Thanks for inviting me. Have a great day. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thanks.